Hello, 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 everyone. It has been a minute and a half since I have been on my business channel. Um, how is everyone? I was just mentioning to our guests, who I'll introduce in a few minutes. A lot of people come on afterwards, come and listen to the replay, because most of the people who tune into my podcast, I know, follow other things at 9 o'clock at night. So I really appreciate any of you guys that are coming back on to listen to the replay. In the description of this video, you will see my link tree with a lot of information on there. And there's actually a form that you can fill out if you have any questions for me about any of the links that you see there. If you want any of the other services that I offer, you can fill that out and I can connect with you through your email or your phone number, whichever you so choose to give me. If you've been following me on Facebook, since I've not been on here for a while, I'll let you guys all know that wonderful Facebook has literally deleted my account. They took my account away on September the 26th. That means I'm not even in timeout. I went from timeout to the guillotine. Like there was no in between. I woke up one morning and I had, I think, 18 notifications, probably private messages. And I clicked on my app and they just said, your account is suspended. So I'm not going to say a whole lot other than that here. But if you are following me on Instagram, which I highly suggest that you do, you can find my IG handle in my link tree. I'm also on Telegram. You can also find me on my Patriot podcast. You can also email me at my business email at h2owellnessnetwork@gmail.com. So right now, those are the places that you can locate me, unless, of course, you happen to have, my phone number or something like that. That's how you can connect with me. I am working on a few other things regarding social media. So as that happens, I will most certainly let you guys know. And more than likely, I'm not sure if I'll post it on IG because IG is associated with Facebook. So I highly suggest that you connect with me via email and or via Telegram. Those are the most secure ways at this moment to reach out to me. And again, you can fill out the form that is in my H2O Wellness. And if I connect with you personally, of course, I will text you. I will share with you how I may show up on social media in the future. So tonight, we are going to be talking about probably specifically two products, probably a little bit on a third one that I've kind of talked to you guys about before, because I have some other things that I can help you with in regards to this product also. But I wanted to bring on the formulator and somebody who I've really connected with my other podcast and with some things that have been going on over the past 3 years. You got to remember, we're on YouTube. So if you would use some discernment and kind of read between the lines how we are going to be speaking with you and to you this evening to provide you with information, that would be great, because I certainly do not, since this is the only real form of communication I have with you guys right now, I really don't want to jeopardize this channel because I already have to rebuild so many other things. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on our guest, and then I will update you guys a little bit on a bio, and I will kind of like him take it from there. Hi, Lance.
Hey, CJ. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Great. Thank you.
I'm jealous. You guys had a beautiful day today, and we had rainy and yucky.
Yeah, it was, really quite amazing at the weather today. I mean, it's like just honestly almost perfect. And I say that gratefully, truly, because, imagine what it does to the body when we get sunlight. That's one of the big things that I really like discussing and I mean, practicing in my life is getting adequate amounts of light, particularly in the morning, right into the eyes. And then at nighttime, it's also beneficial to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a really good point, leading into all the things that we're going to talk about tonight. I know you have about 35 minutes, and I think we can get to the point of what we need to talk about. Let me ask you, you're in Florida right now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So you weren't affected at all by the weather?
Only slightly,
Okay.
um, not too much.
Okay, good, good. I know. I was, off topic. As you know, I go down these rabbit trails, and then I've got my paper here to rein me in. I promised. But I told so many people how I felt like the weather was kind of manipulated, and it's amazing when you say these things. People look at you like you have three heads. I mean, do you get that when you say that? Because I know we're kind of sort of on the same page with a lot of our thought processes, and
Absolutely.
I mean, do people look like you, like you've been smoking something or what?
Yeah, but my look at that back is, dead serious and with a tone of conviction. And,
Absolutely.
I mean, certainly I've been, called crazy for saying all those things, of course, but at this point, it doesn't even matter
That's right.
because if there are people who aren't even open to certain things, like they're going to be the ones that really have to go through a long process of awakening and soul searching
Right.
when all the stuff really comes out, because it's like, hey, we've been trying to tell you for years, and I mean, it's not that we don't,
Exactly.
yeah, we don't need to shame those people, but it's like, hey, we tried telling you, and we've been through the dark night, learning about all this stuff, especially with some of those emails that came out,
Yeah.
all that stuff. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you weren't affected too much, though. Praise God. So I'm gonna,
yeah,
guys. This is Lance Schuttler. Is that how you pronounce your last name?
yeah.
Awesome. Got it right. He graduated from the University of Iowa with a bachelor's degree in health science and is the CEO and owner of Ascent Nutrition, a unique holistic nutrition company. He is also a contributing health and wellness writer at the Epic Times. He also includes the topics of regeneration agriculture, resource based economic and quantum technologies. He is a facilitator and a collaborator of big ideas, visions, and projects that spark creativity and healing solutions in our world. Boy, that's a lot. That's a lot. You're like amazing. That is so cool. And I know you have a really neat story that I want you to kind of share with everybody and wrap into a nutshell before we get into some of the products. One of the key things I want to have everybody that listens to this keep in mind that with my podcast in general, there's a lot of health and wellness podcasts out there, and I always state this. I am not a naturopath doctor at all, but I am an integrative nutritionist. So everything that I do, that I promote, that I partner with, um, I go from a perspective of the discernment and biblical stance. I mean, that's how kind of I choose my partnerships. I look at character, I look at formulation, I look at what you're basing this on. And I really believe that the Lord has given us everything in this world, from the bark of a tree to pine needles to stuff that's in the earth. I mean, to survive and to heal ourselves. And I do believe that there is a time and a place for traditional medicines. My take has always been, um, even prior to going full thrust into being a part of this holistic world, for probably since I guess probably I would say 2012 maybe. I always say go a holistic way first, but you have to be in the right mindset to do that. So, being able to have access and resources to yourself and others to provide information to people so that they can choose what they want to do, individuals need to look at this as a blessing. Because I want to tell you before you introduce yourself, I was texting with somebody prior to this because they were asking me about the podcast tonight, and I kind of took it offensively, but they corrected. I mean, I know this person, so it wasn't offensive, but I said, yeah, I'm having so and so on, we're going to be talking about this, and I said the correct reasons for it, over the phone with some of these tinctures. And they said, oh, that sounds like a great sales pitch. And that really pissed me off. I was like, no, wait a minute, wait a minute. No, my goal is not to sell you. My goal is to educate you and to provide you with the resources that either you or somebody else can use if you so choose to use it. You may not want it, you may not need it, but you may know somebody who does. And so this is all a big educational process to educate people on what's available to them for such a time as this. So with that being said, tell everybody when you kind of started all this, why and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, thanks, CJ. And I agree. There's no sales pitch on any of this. If someone wants to buy, great. But first and foremost, I know that both you and I are here to educate and give the information and let the people make the choices, because that's how, we've got into this. We started searching and learning and discovering and getting into these things. And so my story sort of really catalyzed back in 2008. A close family member ended up taking his life, and this person was on pharmaceuticals at the time to try to be happier, and ended up doing the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big catalyst for my awakening to really start looking at what is health and happiness, and how do we incorporate that into our life, and how are there natural solutions, and what are they, and how do we actually help people? um, because I could see what happens, or what can happen with some of those drugs, and it was really quite sad to see in a lot of ways. And so that really helped me to wake up. And I've always really been into health and wellness and just physical activity and playing sports. And so after I graduated, I was able to get into this industry, working in the nutraceutical field, and I was able to gather like a nice background on this from three different main sides. And so I had a good perspective of how to source things, how do we talk about things authentically, and how do we actually do things the right way and offer pure, clean products and not just products that are okay.
Right. Right. That's awesome. Yeah, I totally agree because there's a lot of products out there that are compromised. I mean, and I say that humbly because I've been a part of companies that I have had to pull out of. And people think it's a sales tactic, like with me being, training, being a personal trainer and things like that, and being into branched chain amino acids and the proteins, and decreasing inflammation, and the whole 9 yards. I know that if you go buy something at Whole Foods or a Trader Joe's, I'm not saying they don't have good products, but what I'm saying is, from a legality standpoint, they can sprinkle a little bit of good stuff in there, put a whole lot of bad stuff in there, and label it whatever they want. So what you're reading on the label, I guarantee you, is not what you are getting, because it's
Right.
costly. It is costly. It costs a lot of money to be sick, and it costs a lot of money to invest in yourself to be well. So either you just have to decide which end of the spectrum you're going to choose to spend your money on. That's just the way it is. So there are a lot of dirty products out there that people think are clean because of those buzzwords, that are on there. And I even know from shopping at Whole Foods and Trader Joe's and all those places, they have goldfish there. Are you kidding me already? Like, there's so many products that we should not be taking. We think because they're located in certain stores, they're okay to take. So the products that you have, and I'd love for you um, to talk about some of the certifications, that we say that some people don't give, and that's a huge thing. But two of these products right here that are in what we call these little, I know it's really hard to see on the screen, tincture bottles, but um, how did you formulate these? What is the main purpose of these? I know these are two that I really wanted to highlight before we get on to the third one, because I think for such a time as this, your other products are great, don't get me wrong, but for such a time as this, these are the ones that I would call the liquid gold of your line. That's my personal opinion.
Thank you, CJ. I agree. So I'll share, and I'll pull something up here
Please.
that people find very interesting. So can you see this?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Um,
I don't know that you're gonna. I don't know how to give you access. We are on StreamYard, so on the bottom of mine, it does not say share screen or let you share or anything.
okay. No problem. So with the pine needle extract, so you remember about a year and a half ago, CJ, when a lot of different scientists started talking about pine needles and pine needle tea and things like that.
Yes.
So what happened with that is we know it went viral within our communities, and a lot of people started learning about it. But this has been around for so long. The indigenous have used it here, thousands, maybe even longer of years, and all throughout the world, or various places throughout the world, pine needles have been used. And so, what really sparked the scientists' interest is the compound known as shikimic acid. And shikimic acid is actually a compound that supports respiratory health, cardiovascular function, detoxification, and brain health, and several other things that are very interesting that we could talk about, in a separate place for sure. But the point with the pine needles is that because of that shikimic acid content, it is scavenging free radicals within the blood. And so that exerts an effect where those harmful free radicals aren't doing the damage that they would normally be doing. And, given this global situation, we need to cleanse the blood, support the cardiovascular health, and certainly support lung health in different ways.
Absolutely, 200%. And I know so many people who have inquired about, um, if they did not partake in particular choices over the past 2.5 years, if they should be possibly taking this as a preventative sort of thing. And I say, look, everybody on a daily basis is exposed to free radicals. Everybody. It's just, I feel like it's been more so over the past 2.5 and 3 years because of the things that we know that have been taking place, or we don't know who we're hanging out with that may have made certain decisions. So I don't believe, I mean, and you would be the expert to tell me this because I'm not, the expert on this whatsoever. But I don't think there's anything in this particular product with this pine needle extract that can harm you. Now, obviously, you don't want to drink the whole bottle. You know what I mean? But there's nothing in here that is going to really harm you because it's coming from nature. And I do remember at the very beginning of the buzzwords of the pine needle tea and the pine needle extract, and people were scouring even Amazon for tea leaves and all this stuff. I don't remember where I heard it, but I did hear somebody said about a certain type being dangerous, not to take or something. So I know with your products, we don't have to be concerned about that. Do you want to
Yeah,
elaborate a little bit more on that?
yeah, definitely. So there's a few different species, like ponderosa. You don't want to use the pine needles, but you actually want to use the pine pollen, and that's a product that we actually have is the pine pollen up from the ponderosa. But you don't want to use the needles. Now the needles that we have is from white pine.
Right.
Okay,
Hmm.
and that's definitely what you want, Pinus strobus. And we wild harvest this. I work with the people who are literally hand harvesting this, and we do it up in Canada, remote, forest type area, and just pure and clean. And then what's most important and amazing is we don't store it in alcohol. We actually keep it in organic vegetable glycerin. The reason we do that is we really just wanted to keep the product as high vibrational as possible. And a lot of people really get turned off by the alcohol, taste wise and just, various other reasons. So this organic vegetable glycerin, it gives it a sweet taste. It's healthy in and of itself. And you can even use that tincture topically because that vegetable glycerin is so good for the skin. And then you mix it in with the pine, can be
Hmm.
very good topically and internally.
Now, is it good for any age, or would you be leery? Because I know there's a lot of children out there that may be in a situation that this could potentially help. Is there an age limit? Is there an amount limit? Is there anything like that on there?
No, so I mean, of course, just common sense for children that are 2 years and younger. You definitely really want to talk with the doctor. I mean, it's safe, but legally we have to say that.
Right.
Someone over that, it is very safe and clean. It's a good strong dose at 267 milligrams per serving, but that's still not a whole lot for, let's say, a child. So, it is going to help them. It's going to be a good strong dose, also a good strong dose for us adults. So, really either way, it can be beneficial.
Okay. So the main point is of this is to help free radicals in the body for such a time as this, and to maybe help with the extraction of things that might be happening inside the body for such a time as this that should not be there. Is that a good assessment?
Yes,
Okay, perfect. I think probably the audience gets the point of what we're saying, and they can all
totally.
and they can probably reach out. And guys, if you have questions for Lance or something, you can always get in touch with me, and I can connect you with him. And I will tell you before we go on to the next product, just so you know, like these products you can test on your wrist, to make sure you don't have an allergy or you don't have something. And Lance is really, really good. If you have a problem with anything or there is an issue, all you have to do is contact him, and he will so make it right. So that's one of the things I wanted to let you know. Okay, so the next product is the algae oil DHA. Can you please explain this a little bit?
Yes, definitely. So this is really, something quite incredible, and it's doing so many different things in the body. It first and foremost is facilitating the movement of light throughout our body. And the reason it's doing this is because, so what DHA is, it's a fatty acid. It's an omega-3, an essential fatty acid that we have to get in the diet. Typically, we're getting it from salmon or fish, other seafood. That's a great source for it. The reason is that the fish will actually eat algae and incorporate those fatty acids into their cellular membrane. And if we humans eat them, then we incorporate those fatty acids as well. So what we've done is we're actually just bypassing the middleman, which is the fish, and going straight to the source. There are certainly legitimate concerns about heavy metal toxicity, pesticide poisoning, or pesticide toxicity within the waters. And so, fish in and of itself, there are legitimate concerns with the consumption of it,
Right.
depending on the source in particular where you're getting it from. So what we've done is we're just eliminating the risk of all of that and just going to the source of the algae. And we water extract it to pull out all those different fatty acids. And our brain, CJ, is mostly fat, as you know.
Yeah.
And when we incorporate those fatty acids, it's so beneficial for the neurons because DHA is needed in every single neuron in the brain. It's needed in the eyes. It's needed in the mitochondria. It's needed in sperm. It's in every cell that makes up the membrane that encases the cells. So this helps with communication of various sorts, and literally, again, helps the movement of light because DHA is super concentrated in the retina of the eye. And so when the photons from the sun are hitting that DHA through the retina, the DHA literally converts the light energy, the photon, into an electrical signal that the brain reads.
Mm.
So it is, literally doing some quantum activities, and it in and of itself is something that all of our cells need for maximum mental performance, cognitive, and nervous system development.
Would you say that with the sickness that a lot of people have had over the past 2.5 years, some more sick than others, I know my daughter and I were sick for a while. One of the side effects I heard was, and I don't, some of it is, I've seen people have it very temporary, and then I've seen people where it's kind of lingered a little bit, was memory loss from that. And I know for me, I did notice that. And I got angry because I'm as sharp as a whip. Like I am on it. I mean, and so when I was like, and it wasn't just one of those things where you go, oh crap, where did I put my keys? We all do that every once in a while, right? It was, I mean, I could tell the difference. Now I think mine has way subsided, but for a while there, I could really, really tell. And I will be honest, and dig on it. I hate that I have to tiptoe around the roses when I'm talking about this, but specifically when I was keeping certain company, I could tell that there were certain things having an effect on me. And at the time, I was just grateful that that was the only minimal side effect that I was having from some of the things that I was hearing. So I was in a place of frustration. I was still trying to be grateful, even though I was frustrated. So I do think that everybody should be using these two products, because even if you didn't have the flu, hey, we could say even if you didn't have the flu, right? As we get older, we definitely need these oils. And 9 out of 10 people don't supplement, and if they do, they supplement with the wrong things that are not bioavailable, that they're either peeing or pooping out, so their body isn't actually utilizing them. So when you have something of this formulation that your body absorbs like that, um, you can be sure that you're getting what is in the bottle. So I really think for people who had the flu, for anybody that's aging, we're all aging, that this is something that you really should be taking, if not every day, a couple of times a week. Because myself, as we've talked about on the other podcast, being pretty much a vegetarian, I do eat fish, but I don't eat fish once a week, and I'm tiny, and I can eat this much and be full. And so you'd have to eat copious amounts of fish. And then, like you said, you're getting all the other stuff, the mercury, the this, the that, regardless of whether you're eating farm raised or wild caught. So I do really think that adding this into your regimen, however you want to do it, would be better than not having it at all.
Absolutely, CJ, and you're spot on with this. So I'll add some more information to that. So there's this test that's done called the omega-3 index percentage. And what it does is it calculates really how saturated our bodies are in these omega-3s. And we want to have an abundance of them for many different reasons. But it's balancing out this omega-3 to 6 ratio, which is literally the ratio that's showing the two most abundant fatty acids in the body that make up all these cellular membranes. What's the ratio? And so we really want to get more 3s than 6s, because 6s promote inflammation, where omega-3s promote a healthy inflammatory response, and they kind of neutralize that.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and so a healthy omega-3 index percentage is anywhere from 8 to 12%. 95% of the population is less than 4%. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's very good studies done on both fish oils and algae oils. Like we have the algae oil, showing that over anywhere from 3 to 6 months, 1 to 2,000 milligrams per day of these omega-3s is actually enough to raise that omega-3 percentage up to 8 to 12%. Now, again, every person's going to be different. The time may be different. It will depend already what a person's levels are at, how many omega-6s they're taking in while they're doing this. So a lot of things can vary. But the cool thing with this is that you can actually give a good amount, or you can take a good amount each day, and know that you're actually, if you set a goal with it, let's say 3 or 6 months, you can actually start to raise those levels, and a person will feel better. I mean, again, I can't guarantee it, but like when you're consuming the most important fatty acid that the body needs,
Mm-hmm.
each day, or enough throughout the week to get up to these levels, then things are going to happen. And they do happen. They happen for the brain, the cardiovascular system, a healthy blood sugar levels,
Right.
so many things. Now, you were talking about fish. So with salmon, okay, if we want to get to 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams per day of these omega-3s, that's 7 to 14,000 milligrams per week. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to get up to those levels, a person would need to eat 5 to 10 servings per week of your average size of salmon just to get those levels. Now, most people aren't doing that, nor do most people want to do that.
Yeah.
So this is where this supplementing truly comes in a way where you're actually adding this in. So if you are having fish a couple weeks and you know you're getting X amount, you can add in even more to get up to those levels where, again, there's like incredible studies done showing this time and time again that this is on average what it takes to actually raise those levels.
Exactly. Um, and if you have to go, I totally respect your time, but I have so many questions here coming up. Um, I want to make sure that our viewers understand, because I'm sure there's viewers watching here. They say, "Well, I take fish oil pills. I take supplements. I take this." And I must tell you, prior to this particular product, I don't remember if I mentioned this to you on our other podcast, but I have a restricted esophagus. So I have to chew very small amounts. I choke very easily. I've had way too many close calls. I take a gazillion supplements. That's what I do. That's my world, right? But I can't swallow pills. So I've become very proficient at taking, again, prior to this, high quality fish supplements, a packet of AM and PM supplementation. I have to open up capsules, put them in my protein shake, punch a hole with a knife in those gel caps, squeeze the fish oil and get it all over my fingers, make my fingers smell to the point that I want to just vomit, right? But I've been like, it doesn't take me but 60 seconds in the morning to do all that because I've been doing it for so long. And I'm the type of person, I'll swallow beef pollen if it's good for me. Like if it's good for me, I'll gag it down, you know. Um,
Exactly.
but that's just me. A lot of
Yeah.
people will say if it
Yeah.
doesn't taste good, I'm not taking it, right? So then I also went to and I found over the counter a liquid fish oil that, they have them flavored now. It tastes like lemon, it tastes like this, but you don't know what they're using in there. You don't know we're going to get to the facility that it's formulated in. You don't know the specifics, and that takes us back to what I said earlier in this podcast, to the protein, to the this. You don't know what you're getting. They can lie to you and tell you anything because there is no certification, there are no standards, there is technically no quality control. I mean, there just is not. So for people who are already taking supplementation, if you're happy with what you're doing, continue doing it. I'm just saying, educate and know what you're taking. And if you can't swallow pills, having a tincture like this is a godsend because you can just put this under your tongue, and go. You can give this to kids. You don't have to worry about pills. You don't have to worry, is it for adults? Is it for a 14-year-old? And so the certification too of where it comes from, let's go into that, how we talk about some companies will expose this and some companies will not.
Yeah, exactly. So we actually show our COA
Yes.
of our products,
Yeah.
in particular this algae oil, because we want to show people the truth and allow them to see what's in it. You'll notice that there's only one other ingredient in there. It's tocopherol, which is just an antioxidant preservative.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a vitamin E-like compound, and it's that's it. And so we've got a super clean product, water extracted. We show our COA, the facility we're in, FDA registered, and just doing it by the book to show people how clean this is. Because again, there's a lot of fish oil products out there. A lot of people know about it and use it, but a lot of people are looking for something even cleaner. And this is what we have.
Exactly. Tell everybody what that certification actually stands for and is, just real quick, specifically, so that they know.
So the FDA registered facility means that the FDA has like approved this facility that we're doing this in. So they know that, what we're saying we're putting in the product is in there, and, we're not making claims. We're just, simply creating the product that we say we are,
Right.
and just done in a clean way.
And the COA is a certificate of analysis. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
Yep. And I know that there are a lot of companies and a lot of products out there that will not disclose that. And that's a big deal. I mean, if you're in this world and you're trying to help people, you know that that's an important fact to let people know about. Because if you're the average person going out there to purchase a supplement, You don't even know what a COA is, and you're like, I don't care. It's here. It's cheap. I'll just get it. I mean, it's your
Yeah,
money. You can
yeah.
you can do what you want with it. If you want a $10 product, or if you want an $80 product, and you actually know what you're getting, you know. So that's a really important piece of this puzzle. So, um, do you want to hit on your other third product, or do you need to go and we should reschedule another time?
Let's touch on it, and then we can definitely come back to it on another show too.
Okay. All right. Yeah. If you want to touch base on your third product, that would be wonderful.
Is this the coffee that we're talking about, CJ?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So the coffee, along these same lines, we show our COA on a lab test that we do for mold and mycotoxins. Okay. So this is something that's not that well known in the coffee industry. What we have is organically grown coffee from Guatemala, medium and dark roast beans, and we go above and beyond the organic certification, and we do mold and mycotoxin free. So molds are commonly on coffee. Anywhere there's studies showing anywhere from 50 to 90% of beans can have mold. 97% of coffee beans in the world are sprayed with pesticides. So we don't have any of that stuff. And so it literally is some of the cleanest coffee in the world. And we can say that authentically because of what we know is not in there. And we've talked about this. I wanted to be able to have this coffee so clean so that I could say those statements authentically and not just making a big bold claim and not being able to back it up.
Mhm.
Because when you can say something like that and actually mean it, it's powerful. And that's what we do. And we're really trying to help people because we believe that, we are all children of God and we all deserve the purest, cleanest things to put in our bodies. And, of course, it's up to everyone what they do want to do. But we want to offer things that are pure and clean and provide the body with these nutrients in their highest vibrational state.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know you're working on a decaf for me, right?
Exactly.
Please,
Exactly.
please, and thank you.
We've
Please.
got we've got multiple people asking.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Lance, thank you so very much for coming on. It's such a pleasure as always. And I'm sure you will be on the sister channel here at another time very soon in the near future. I do have my links down there. And if anybody has questions regarding anything, I will make sure to connect you with them. So I appreciate your time. Stay safe and well. And I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, CJ. This was amazing, and thank you everyone for listening.
Absolutely. Good night, everybody.
Good
Bye.
night. Bye bye.